key one to Stoic imagine, for a moment, having the incredible power to remain untouched by chaos, impervious to the stress of daily disruptions, and calmly centered no matter what life throws your way. This kind of inner strength isn't just reserved for philosophers or historical figures. It's something that's available to all of us right now. One of the greatest examples of this kind of emotional resilience comes from Marcus Aurelius, a Roman emperor who ruled from 161 to 180 AD. Through his philosophy, known today as Stoicism, Aurelius cultivated the kind of poise and wisdom that allowed him to remain calm amid the most turbulent storms. At the heart of his teachings lies a liberating concept, the power of indifference. Now, when we think of indifference, it's easy to associate it with apathy or disinterest, but that's not the kind of indifference Aurelius meant. His indifference is about selective engagement, choosing where to direct our mental and emotional energy and where to let go of what we cannot control. This stoic indifference isn't about withdrawing from life or disconnecting. It's about enhancing our life by focusing on what we can influence and detaching from the things we cannot. In other words, it's not about ignoring the world. It's about engaging with it more wisely so that we're not overwhelmed by every little disruption. Aurelius's personal diary, Meditations, provides us with a window into his thoughts. These writings were never meant to be published. They were a way for him to coach himself through the challenges of ruling an empire. In the midst of political turmoil, military losses, and personal grief, Aurelius used these writings to reflect on how to embody virtues like wisdom, courage, and moderation, no matter the circumstances around him. In our modern world, where a single notification can spike our anxiety or disrupt our peace, Aurelius's approach to indifference is more relevant than ever. He teaches us how to filter out the noise and focus on what really matters. It's about recognizing that while we can't control what happens to us, we can control how we react to those events. In other words, it's not the event itself that determines our peace, it's how we choose to respond. One of the most powerful insights from his philosophy comes from the distinction between what we can change and what we can't, what he called the dichotomy of control. For example, we can't control the weather, our past mistakes, or the inevitable passage of time. But we can control how we respond to these events, how we prepare for a storm, how we reflect on our past, and how we approach aging. These are all within our power. Aurelius captured this beautifully in his Meditations, writing, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This doesn't mean we suppress our emotions or ignore challenges. Rather, it means we cultivate an inner peace that allows us to maintain focus on what deserves our energy and attention. Think about it. When we let ourselves be tossed about by the waves of fate, we lose our center. But when we learn to navigate those waves with composure, we become unshaken. Aurelius practiced what he preached. Despite facing wars, betrayal, and personal loss during his reign, he remained focused on his duty and on how he could maintain virtue and dignity in the face of adversity. Now, let's imagine how Aurelius would have handled a modern crisis, like a global pandemic or economic collapse. Instead of wasting energy lamenting the unfairness or futility of the situation, he would focus on his response. He would ensure the safety of his people, provide clear communication, and do what he could to support his community without losing his calm in the process. This philosophy of indifference has never been more critical than it is today. With our peace easily shattered by external triggers, social media, world events, even a phone notification, learning to distinguish between what merits our attention and what is not as essential. By practicing stoic indifference, we free ourselves from the chaos that surrounds us, reserving our emotional investments for things we can actually change. This doesn't make us cold, unfeeling, or robotic. On the contrary, it allows us to care more deeply and love more effectively, because we're no longer bogged down by every distraction or disappointment. Instead of giving away our energy to things we can't control, we pour it into actions and relationships that truly matter. So, take a moment and reflect. In which areas of your life could you benefit from this stoic indifference? Maybe it's a strained relationship where you've been trying to change someone who isn't ready to change. Or perhaps it's anxiety about global issues like climate change, where, while the concerns are valid, the energy we spend worrying about things we can't directly influence could be better spent on positive, constructive action. Marcus Aurelius's philosophy of indifference isn't about giving up on life or retreating from the world. It's about embracing it more fully. It's about knowing where our true power lies, in our actions, our responses, and our commitment to personal growth. By focusing our energy on what we can control, we cultivate a life that's not only more peaceful, but also more impactful, meaningful, and resilient. As you go about your day, keep this in mind. You have the power to decide what deserves your energy. The more you practice this kind of stoic indifference, the more you'll find that life's storms have less power over you, and your inner calm will become your greatest strength. Key 1. Stoic imagine stepping into a state of unshakable resilience, a space where life's challenges no longer dictate your emotions, where frustration, stress, and disappointment lose their grip on you. This is the power of stoic indifference, a philosophy that is not about apathy or ignoring our responsibilities, but about mastering our focus, refining our emotional responses, and gaining true freedom over how we engage with the world. Indifference, in the Stoic sense, does not mean detachment from life, people, or goals. Instead, it is about learning to separate what truly matters from what doesn't. It is about recognizing that while we may not control external events, we have absolute authority over our interpretations and reactions. By cultivating this mindset, we gain clarity, inner peace, and the ability to act with wisdom rather than impulse. Consider how often we waste energy on things beyond our control. Traffic jams, social media outrage, workplace gossip, or fleeting criticisms. These distractions drain our mental and emotional resources, leaving us frustrated and reactive. But what if, instead of letting them dictate our mood, we simply acknowledged their presence and redirected our attention to what actually serves us? This mindset is not just philosophical. It has practical, life-changing applications. Imagine facing a career disappointment, perhaps a failed project or harsh criticism. The default reaction might be frustration, self-doubt, or defensiveness. But stoic indifference teaches us to step back, analyze the situation objectively, extract lessons, and move forward without resentment. This approach doesn't just reduce stress. It makes us more resilient, adaptable, and respected in professional settings. Ever found yourself stuck in traffic, anger rising as precious minutes slip away? Instead of fuming over what you can't change, Stoicism encourages you to transform the experience. Listen to an audiobook, reflect on your goals, or simply practice patience. By shifting perspective, even unavoidable inconveniences become moments of growth rather than sources of frustration. In our personal lives, small conflicts often escalate because we place too much importance on momentary slights, a friend's careless remark, a partner's forgetfulness. Indifference does not mean tolerating mistreatment, but it does mean choosing our battles wisely. Does this issue truly impact the foundation of the relationship, or is it an opportunity to practice patience and understanding? We live in an era of constant information overload, where every news cycle demands our outrage, and social media thrives on emotional reactions. Without discernment, we become overwhelmed and exhausted. Stoic indifference is the antidote. It allows us to selectively engage with what truly matters, preserving our energy for meaningful pursuits rather than being swept away by fleeting distractions. By routinely evaluating what is and isn't worth our emotional investment, we develop heavy checkmark greater emotional intelligence. Understanding our own responses helps us navigate relationships with wisdom and empathy. Heavy checkmark increased resilience. Life's uncertainties no longer destabilize us, allowing for greater success and inner peace. Heavy checkmark a deeper sense of fulfillment. Happiness becomes an internal state, rooted in self-mastery rather than external validation. Heavy checkmark reduced stress and anxiety. By focusing only on what truly requires our attention, we eliminate unnecessary mental clutter. At its core, Stoic indifference is about reclaiming our power. It liberates us from being at the mercy of circumstances, opinions, and fleeting emotions. It enables us to focus on what we can control, our actions, our mindset, and our values, while letting go of everything else. This is not just a tool for handling stress. It is a blueprint for living intentionally, with purpose and serenity. The choice is yours. Remain a prisoner to external forces or step into a mindset of unwavering strength. Mastering indifference doesn't mean disengaging from life. It means engaging in a way that is deliberate, wise, and truly free. Key 1 to Stoic in today's fast-paced world. It's easy to get caught up in every small issue that comes our way. We often feel the pressure of societal expectations and the need to react to every situation, whether it's a minor inconvenience or a major setback. But there's a profound wisdom in learning to maintain a sense of indifference. Stoic indifference doesn't mean neglecting your feelings. It's about managing your reactions and choosing to focus on what truly matters, rather than getting distracted by the endless noise of daily life. By practicing indifference, you free yourself from unnecessary stress and create more space to focus on what aligns with your deepest values and goals. This clarity allows you to live authentically and with greater purpose. When your actions are guided by your principles, your sense of integrity and self-respect strengthens, and this becomes the foundation for personal growth. The true beauty of embracing indifference is in its ripple effects. As you become less reactive to minor irritations, your emotional resilience grows. You become more proactive, taking charge of your own destiny rather than passively responding to the chaos around you. This shift in mindset empowers you to approach life with a renewed sense of agency, as you focus on shaping your future rather than being swept along by external circumstances. The benefits of practicing Stoic indifference extend far beyond just managing daily frustrations. It enhances your emotional well-being and fosters a deep, enduring sense of happiness. It equips you with the tools to navigate life's complexities with grace and poise. With this mindset, you can face life's challenges head-on, knowing that you're not at the mercy of circumstances, but in full control of your response. So how do you incorporate this ancient wisdom in a modern life? The first step is recognizing that indifference isn't about suppressing your emotions. It's about choosing how you respond to things outside of your control. Let's take a common situation, receiving critical feedback at work. Rather than reacting defensively or feeling defeated, you can apply Stoic indifference by objectively assessing the feedback. Ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can I use it to improve? This shift from a reactive stance to a more thoughtful, proactive approach not only aids in personal development, but also strengthens your professional relationships by demonstrating openness and adaptability. Indifference also plays a crucial role in how we approach our finances. It's easy to get anxious about the volatility of the stock market, especially when investing in long-term assets. But Stoic indifference teaches us to focus on our long-term goals and avoid being swept up by short-term market fluctuations. By staying disciplined in our approach to saving and investing, we can achieve greater financial stability and peace of mind. In our social media-driven world, it's tempting to measure our worth by likes and online validation. Practicing indifference here can be incredibly freeing. By disengaging from the pursuit of approval and focusing on creating content that aligns with our true passions, we free ourselves from the stress of comparison and cultivate a sense of authenticity and creativity. The principle of indifference also applies to our personal relationships. We can't control others' actions, but we can control how we react to them. When someone cancels plans last minute or disappoints us in some way, practicing indifference helps us maintain peace of mind. Rather than letting frustration take over, we can use the unexpected free time for self-care or personal reflection, ensuring that our relationships remain positive and drama-free. Incorporating daily practices like mindfulness, meditation, and journaling can further reinforce this Stoic mindset. Meditation helps us detach from our thoughts and emotions, allowing us to observe them without becoming entangled. Journaling, on the other hand, gives us the opportunity to reflect on our daily experiences and identify areas where our responses may not align with our values, guiding us toward more mindful and intentional actions. Ultimately, cultivating Stoic indifference is about creating a buffer between ourselves and the external events we can't control. It allows us to live with greater intentionality, focusing our energy on what we can influence and letting go of what we can't. This mindset not only helps us cope with life's challenges, but also unlocks a deeper sense of joy and fulfillment. As we practice this form of indifference, we find that many of life's stresses lose their grip on us, and we gain the freedom to live with less anxiety and more appreciation for the present moment. Each day presents an opportunity to practice this mindset. Whether it's choosing not to be upset by a rude comment, letting go of work stress, or accepting that some things are simply beyond our control, each small act of indifference builds up, creating profound transformation in how we experience life. Thank you for joining us on this journey into Stoic thought. If this discussion resonated with you, and you're interested in exploring how these principles can further enrich your life, consider diving into more of our content. These insights can help guide you through the complexities of life with wisdom and serenity. Let's continue this journey, navigating life's challenges with greater clarity and inner peace.